not own a single Michael Jackson record. Former Grammy nominee Frank Zappa is in our Los Angeles studio. Even though you don't own a record, Frank, you agree this is the year of Michael Jackson?
Well, I hope so.
What do you mean you hope so? Because he's that good and he deserves it?
I think he's that good, and I think he does deserve it. But as far as me not owning a record, I'm not a pop consumer. I don't own anybody's records, but my kids have Michael Jackson cassettes. So I just want to make that perfectly clear.
What do you attribute to the success of Jackson? I mean, why has he met this both critical and popular success?
Well, let's face it, he is very, very good.
But he's good in what way? What is it about Jackson that...
Well, I think he has a lovely voice. I think most of the songs that I've heard are good songs. I think that the arrangements are excellent, and the engineering is excellent.
Is he sort of the breakdown then to break this barrier between white rock and black rhythm and blues?
The barrier that you're talking about is something that is manufactured by the people who program music on the radio. It's not really, I don't think, a racial barrier. It's a merchandising barrier. Just like MTV doesn't like to play certain types of things, and certain radio stations are doing a type of narrow casting where they limit the style of the music that they play. Those barriers are artificially generated.
Why do they generate them then?
Because you ever heard of MBAs? You know those guys that come out of
MBAs,
college?
yeah, right.
Yeah, right.
Stanford or wherever, yeah.
These are MBA decisions.
Because they don't think it's good business?
That's right. They don't think it's good business because they calculate things to, they make assumptions about what people want, and then they make sure that they get tons of it.
Yeah. Well, it really was a stupid decision if somebody kept Michael Jackson off of MTV or off of any kind of, I mean, that makes MBAs not very wise about business, doesn't it?
Oh, they never kept Michael Jackson off MTV. He's been on MTV quite a bit, but MTV doesn't like to play certain other types of black performers.
Yeah. For example?
You name another black performer, and he probably has not been on MTV.
Well, Stevie Wonder, Lionel Richie.
Well, I don't think I've ever seen a Lionel Richie thing on MTV, but most of what on MTV is not specifically designed to exclude blacks, and I really don't speak for them, but just judging from what I've seen, it's not designed to exclude blacks. It's designed to maximize the appeal of people with studded dog collars on. And it's for the audience that likes that sort of thing.
Is it because somebody doesn't think, what is the miscalculation? I mean, you know, what's wrong in the head that makes those decisions?
Well, I think that you have to remember that ignorance is its own reward, and America is crawling with it at the executive level all over the place. Everything that goes out to the American public under the guise of entertainment has to pass through a number of special filters.
Are you angry about this? Is it because you feel like you've been victimized, or is it just a Frank Zappa commentary on the way the record business operates?
No, I think that what I've just told you is not a matter of anything that has happened to me personally. It's something that happens to all Americans because we are denied access to certain types of information, certain types of entertainment, because all of the decisions are made beforehand by people who program radio stations, because it's in the handful of just a few people who tell all the stations what they play. And as far as what goes on television as video rock and roll, that's in the hands of even fewer people.
Let me move on to the Grammys simply because of the time. Do you like them? I mean, do you approve? I mean, would you watch them? Will you be there?
No, I don't. I think that the Grammys are a sham, but on the other hand, they're very important for future historians because I think the collected videotapes of all the Grammys that run in the United States are going to be an interesting historical document. They should exist because this type of certification must be done. The business of America is business. What's happening with the Grammys, and has happened in the past, is there's the hypocrisy that is presented because these awards are purportedly based on musical merit, and they're not.
But what are they based on?
They're really based on two things: sales figures and you vote for your friend in the industry. I don't see any way possible on the planet that all of the records that are released every year can be listened to 100% by the members, the voting members of NARIS, how they can make a rational assessment of everything that has come out and presented and then come to a rational conclusion. It can't happen.
So the primary fallacy of the system is that everything doesn't filter up. I mean, you know, the market seems to separate and to separate out those records and those albums that are most popular. You may quarrel with that system, but it seems that those are the record albums that sort of get the attention on the Grammys.
I don't quarrel with the system. I quarrel with the hypocrisy of the way that they describe the process. They're trying to make it sound like something that it's not. Yeah. And if they would just be honest about it and say, these awards are given because these records sold millions and millions of units, or these awards are given because these are my friends and I voted for them, then it would be okay. Yeah. But when you say it's based on, you know, all this highfalutin talks of merit and stuff like that, it's stupid.
Yeah, and you suggest that it's because of some need that all of us have for certitude. We need to have somebody come up and pat us on the back and say, you're okay and you've done just fine and you had the best record album of the year and here's your award. That we need that somehow in our psyche?
No, I think what you need is certification, because one of the reasons why the Grammys can exist in their present form is based on the way the American educational system works. In school, you are not given criteria by which to judge what is good or what is bad or what is right or what is wrong or even what is logical. That is just not something that you were taught, and usually your parents are too busy jogging or making themselves beautiful and youthful to tell it to you.
You're given a certification, which is what, the ABCD system? Is that the certification?
No, I'm talking about the kind of a certification where somebody needs to tell everybody what is good. Somebody will make the decision for you. You've relinquished that responsibility to an outside force, and they will tell you what is the best. And you are then stuck with the criteria they use to make their decision. And so you just get in line and march along and believe in it. And that's the way these things are conducted.
Is there a better system to judge artistic merit? In other words, you might conceive of a better way to do it than the way the Grammys are held?
I don't think that it's my job to do that, but the thing that I object most to about the Grammys is the way that they cling to this propaganda that it's based on something other than pure business or commercialism. Yeah. If they would be honest about that, I would have no qualms with it. But I become irate when I see people saying one thing and doing another.
When you look at even though you don't follow the popular music scene, when you look at the record of the year, assuming Frank Zappa was going to vote, when you look at the record of the year, Beat It, Michael Jackson, Every Breath You Take, The Police, All Night Long, Lionel Richie, Flashdance, What a Feeling, Irene Cara, and Maniac, Michael Sembello, which one has the most artistic merit? How would you vote?
First of all, I would probably vote for Grandmaster Flash.
But Grandmaster Flash is not nominated.
Yeah, that's too bad.
So you can't vote for that. Who would you vote for?
I probably wouldn't vote then.
Really?
If I couldn't vote for something that I didn't believe in, I wouldn't vote.
You were once nominated, though.
Oh, yes. Accidents will happen. Just to show you how preposterous the Grammys are, I was nominated as in the category of Best Male Vocal Performance for a song called Dancin' Fool a few years ago. I mean, that is absurd. But this is the real clincher to the case. In the category of Best Instrumental Composition was a song entitled Rat Tamago. Rat Tamago was an improvised guitar solo from a 4-track recording, which was included in the Shake Your Booty album. Wasn't even a composition, and it was listed in that category. I don't know who makes these things up or why, but they made a mistake that time.
But I would assume that, notwithstanding everything you've just said, that when Michael Jackson does the expected on the night of the Grammys, he will go up and accept one of either possible 12 awards for the 12 nominations, that you would applaud that because Michael Jackson clearly deserves the accolades that he's getting.
Well, I think, although I don't know Michael and I'm not a consumer of his music, the things that I've seen on MTV and the records that I've heard around the house that my kids have played, it sounds good and it sounds like there's good workmanship in it and it sounds musical, and I think he's a good performer.
Where do you think the music is going? I mean, is there anything that you like about the way the music business is going other than the pop business?
No, I truthfully can say that I don't like anything about the way the business of music is going, because I think that it's anti-musical. I got into this because I happen to love music.
Yeah.
I like to hear it, I like to play it, and I think that music as an art form is what's important. The business side of it is really unpleasant, and the way in which it's being conducted today is very unethical, and it's very unfair, and I have great fears about what's going to happen in the future in terms of people who just want to make music, not just to make hit records, because if you have a hit, that doesn't make you good or a better musician. It just means you sold a bunch of stuff. And Americans don't stop and think about what the quality of the music is. The only thing they want to hear is how many units did it sell?
Yeah.
And that's ridiculous.
Thank you, Frank Zappa, for joining us. Nightwatch will continue. Stay with us.